House of Dragons is clickbait. There's not a fucking house, and there's no dragons.
There's hardly.
I'm dragging my balls across this clickbait.
There's dragons.
Are there dragons in a house? This episode of the Safety Third Podcast is brought to you by the Safety Third Podcast Patreon. If you want extra episodes, we record an extra episode every single week, and there's a huge backlog right now that we recorded basically at the end of last year. So
yeah,
if you guys are interested in supporting the podcast and just getting more podcasts, you can go link in the description below and click it and give us your money. We will spend it well, probably on
excavators.
I was going to say drugs. Actually, it's paying John.
No, we're going to spend it on a trip to go see Nigel.
Yay. Is that right,
No.
Nigel? Oh, no. All right, enjoy this.
You guys aren't allowed. You guys aren't allowed in Canada anymore.
Stop
Really?
it. We're trying to end this.
There's a lot of
we got to
places
get to
I'm
the
not allowed.
podcast. Shut up.
Yeah, the very good podcast is coming up. That's a lie.
So I found a new browser extension.
Oh my God. I
It's-
actually love this.
So it's basically, Sponsor Block, where it lets people basically edit your video.
Yeah.
This lets people choose the thumbnails and titles that other people see
you know what
on
I'm
YouTube.
waiting for? Okay, so this, what was it called?
D-Arrow.
D-Arrow. So D-Arrow, I just saw this for the first time I clicked on the page. So like,
you did too?
It looks like
Yeah.
it finds like a similar screenshot from the YouTube video
Okay.
and replaces the thumbnail. That's the vibe I got. So like when, like my second channel, it took the same kind of pose I was doing,
yeah.
except it just pulled like the screenshot of it, and it's like less zoomed in. It's like darker.
Yeah.
Objectively, just
Wait, when did you
don't
see
really
this?
get-
Just when I sent the
when you sent it.
Okay.
And
I don't really get what you're
and then you got
talking about.
sponsor block, right? And then ad block. It's like first they came for our ads,
Yeah.
then they came for our sponsors.
They should just edit the whole video for us.
Now they're not letting us do titles and thumbnails, and pretty soon they're gonna start going into our bank account and taking our money directly from us.
We should just upload all the
So-
raw footage to YouTube and have
Yeah.
everybody else have them edit the video.
You know what
But I
you
don't
could
get
do?
it. Does your titles and I'm totally
Okay,
lost. I don't
it's
know
a
what you guys are
browser
talking about.
extension that's supposed to get rid of clickbait on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's like community
Oh.
source
Go to NileRed.
thumbnails and titles.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so
Oh yeah, I forgot we can show it. So sorry for the audio listeners. We immediately open this podcast with a fucking visual. Okay, so this video is the Harry Potter cast on crack. This is the thumbnail. It's a red arrow pointing. I've done that
Whoa.
twice. Pointing at Harry Potter, and then there's
some
that's
woman
not Ron Weasley. The fuck? That's Ed Sheeran. And then it's like got the arrow. It's got the green background. Now,
Yeah.
what happens when you turn the plugin on for the extension? It looks like a high school dance. It's just like a screenshot of behind the scenes footage of the movie.
And then Will's video title goes from my farming dream is dead to
So the thumbnail is a screenshot of me looking at the camera, and the thumbnail picked is me just fucking looking at a piece of paper.
yeah. Checking out the poor results from my farm soil sample and working on my mini fire truck is the community notes version of your video title.
That's awesome.
I actually really love this. Every single one of these thumbnails is objectively 10 times worse. I've watched Nigel, they just left him. All right,
He's going to be unscathed.
Nigel, what did they do to your videos?
No, I want to say they just butcher my
Channel is this?
Well, I mean,
53 million.
some of the titles I would say is hard to do when one's just making purple gold. It's what else are you gonna call it?
So an unusual reaction between aluminum and mercury gets turned into
I love how reading the soil samples.
aluminum and mercury.
Reading the soil samples,
Wait, yeah.
it's instead of sort
review
of talking
videos.
about
Yeah.
for me, the titles are kind of like a narrative. They are kind of clickbait. I do agree, but it's kind of a narrative, right? It's what's the story? It's my dream farm is dead. The concern for me is that I can't farm anything, but the trained people who love these titles and thumbnails are just tell me literally what happens.
Yeah.
Wait, you know what? If you broke down any story about this, it would just, if you said literally what happens, every story would become immediately uninteresting.
Yeah. It's basically,
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's why I have a gripe about that with movie trailers, though. Half the time I see the trailer, I have no idea what the movie's actually about.
That's maybe, is it better that way? Or no?
I don't know. I don't really like it. I wish they would tell me something.
Maybe you're trained people.
Yeah.
I'm I don't have any good examples to whip out of my pocket right now, but let's do Star Wars. Dude finds lightning stick. No.
Yeah.
That's a clickbait.
The
title.
imperialist rebel forces.
government corruption drama with science.
Yeah,
elements,
and a lot
science fiction element.
and they have to secure the trade routes.
what do you call like political theater with science fiction elements? Space theater, science.
Mystery science theater.
Mystery science space theater.
Yeah. Wait, do Nigel's videos, like his new ones, do those
Yeah, I want to see
change?
the new ones.
So this,
They're gonna.
Did they not touch them?
No.
Making an atomic trampoline, arguably measurably worse thumbnail. Turning styrofoam into cinnamon candy. It's just screenshots from the video. Why aren't you allowed to have thumbnails? That's a way better thumbnail. Fuck
I
you
know.
guys.
Yeah.
they took the thumbnail away.
Wait, do my video.
How about you make your own fucking YouTube videos and you can title and thumbnail whatever you want? Dude, they butchered my boy. I made a gun that punches through anything. Okay, could you survive a blast from the world's biggest vortex cannon? What could they possibly do?
And I built a bear trap that can cut you in half.
Playing with a giant vortex.
I built a big
Dude,
bear trap.
I built a big bear trap. What was it before?
I built a bear trap that can cut you in half or something.
Why?
Playing around with a laser cleaner, making a cotton candy gun. 400-mile-per-hour rocket.
Can we go back to the making cotton candy gun?
Yeah.
That might be a better thumbnail.
It actually might be. Yeah.
No, I think that one, they might have helped you out.
Yeah.
That thumbnail, every time I look at it, I'm like, I can't believe you haven't changed it yet.
Nothing's going to save that video.
Dude, literally a new title thumbnail.
They changed it to playing with a giant. Can you see, like, is there community notes? Like, you can vote for different titles on stuff?
This is like one person is just going in there and playing God with your channel.
Yeah. Like, is there a vote?
I genuinely, Nigel died.
So I guess world's
No.
biggest is kind
I'm
of
just,
clickbait, but it's not a lie
Looking at
either.
stuff.
When I make titles and thumbnails, I try to come up with the simplest narrative with the smallest words I can use. Like,
Yeah.
if I think I might be spelling the word wrong, you know, like some words when you write them out, they just like look weird.
Oh, yeah.
I don't use them.
Yeah. Those
I
are
won't- I
hard
won't-
words.
I won't use them in the thumbnail. And the
Single
title.
syllable
What's an
words.
What's an example of a word that looks weird?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of like maybe like difficult. Use hard.
Is the word difficult?
Yeah, use hard.
Yeah.
Or
Well, I think the idea, like what Kevin said, is just
struggle.
simplify.
Maybe like it's if you can take a word and use like a dumber version of it, I think that's
Yeah.
almost always better. You're like condensing, you're distilling
Yeah.
it down. Because when I'm making titles and thumbnails, I'm trying to figure out how to convey the idea of what's happening to the user's like mind.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to tell them what the video literally is. I'm trying to get them to understand like what the motivation is. Do the tungsten cube. That's a good one for
the
me.
Thanks Cube video.
Because I titled that. I
Yeah,
didn't know
I-
what to title it. So I just called it Very Heavy Cube, which objectively is like, it is a very heavy
It's going to
cube.
be like, in this video, William Osman drops a very
Yeah,
heavy cube
exactly.
onto a lot of objects to break them.
Because when I did that video, nobody knew what a tungsten cube was. So if I put the word tungsten in it, like nobody's going to, yeah, okay, go up to the top. So dropping a tungsten cube on things.
Playing with a
Yeah.
tungsten cube.
But when I made that video, like this was the first tungsten cube video.
Hmm.
So if I had said dropping a tungsten cube on things, people would be like, oh, what is that? But now you know what it is because so many people have stolen my great idea from me that I stole from Nigel.
Yeah. I wonder if
Wait, should we introduce the podcast?
Welcome to this very special episode
yeah.
of three YouTubers bitching about YouTube.
I know it's pretty funny.
I think you did.
I'm not going to use it though
That's
because the thumbnails just aren't good.
They're bad. I actually would like to insult the developers of this because your logo sucks ass. I don't know what it's trying to convey. D-arrow?
Yeah,
But
what
it's
are-
like two circles.
What arrow are they
Yeah.
doing?
Like what? I don't understand. You know, like the FedEx logo has like an arrow in the middle of it. It's like it shows transition. It shows movement. Your logo sucks. I don't know what your brand is. I don't know what your product is. What does this extension do? Your logo doesn't help convey it at all. Now you know how I feel.
I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's like it makes sense why somebody would want to have a thing to cut through all the clickbait. But I feel like the effect is if I use this, like for example, your video, you know, and I know the video and thumbnail, so it's like very heavy cube and it's like
Yeah.
you holding the tungsten cube. If it changed it to like man uses very heavy tungsten cube
I know.
to smash things, and it was just like a screenshot of the video, I'd be like, that sounds bad.
Right.
Like, you need some clickbait to entice you.
It's hyper.
Or else why would you even watch it?
Is it clickbait though? Here's what I'm thinking.
No, but it's not clickbait. I'm saying you need some like something to sell the idea.
So it's not
you can't just
clickbait.
literally describe it.
This in my, I'm trying to like, I should have put more thought in this before we start talking about it so I could be more eloquent. But when I'm making the title and thumbnail, I'm trying to prepare the audience for the introduction. I'm not trying to tell them what the video is going to be about. I'm trying to prepare them for what they're about to see immediately.
Yeah.
And so with very heavy cube, what is the thought process for dropping a tungsten cube on stuff? There's this thing called tungsten. It's very dense, which means something that's very small is very heavy.
Yeah.
The government thought about dropping it from space. I want to try dropping it on things. So it literally starts from the idea of here's this very heavy thing.
Yeah. That's going to be.
Let's explore the idea of a very heavy thing. What can you do with a very heavy thing? Like that to me is the thought process of like, what can you do with this thing that I found? Like imagine you do, I don't know, like uranium rocks, right? It's just like these rocks are radioactive versus
what can I do with these rocks?
What can I do with them? Intrusive thought wise, you're like, oh, I could go to a mine, an abandoned mine, and find some uranium rock. Have we talked about this?
Yeah, I think last week.
Kind of. It's still on the idea board. So oh no, did I erase it?
I don't know.
Erase it. Did we talk about it? Like it's like what's not? It's not like I collected uranium rocks. It's like I had the opportunity to mine uranium ore.
Yeah.
That's where it started. Like for me, a title and thumbnail stems from the origin of the intrusive thought. Like for Nigel, it's can I turn this into this?
Yeah.
For a lot of the main channel videos, it's like here's this idea that I have. Go to Michael's channel. I wonder what Michael's look like. I would literally call it storytelling. And you know who some of the worst storytellers and communicators are? Engineers.
Oh yeah, that's a huge problem.
You know what an engineer would do? They would make a freaking extension.
They would make an extension
that goes hyper literal, that removes any sort of storytelling or narrative. There is a lot of clickbait. You guys are there is a lot of clickbait.
Software engineer.
This plugin I think does have a genuine utility, but we're still allowed to criticize it.
You got rid of me.
Here's Michael Reeves. I built a car out of scooters. How do you fix that?
A boring video.
They changed something. I built a car out of scooters. What did it used to be? The thumbnail is way worse. I built a car. They capitalized out. Are you fucking kidding me? You guys are assholes.
Do it again, John. Flip it back. A boring video turns into
driving to the Anza Borengo desert land TwitchCon. I think Michael's title was better. It's a boring video.
Mm-hmm.
He literally is not clickbaiting you. He said it's a what, dude? What the fuck? I hate this.
The other two are the same.
This is so insulting.
I think the problem too is like the term, like you said, clickbait, is people use it in. It's meant to be you are just
teaching a robot to pee beer is like a top-down view of like a fucking Nest camera teardown.
Yeah.
No.
So I think
don't install this.
Are they like the thumbnail has to be like just automatically generated? Like say 10. I bet it's like 15 seconds in the video.
It might be
just a random shot.
Yeah. It's AI.
What about the titles? Also AI. No way. I thought
it
it was.
No, it's not. The titles are too bad for AI. God, it might be AI. Jesus Christ, I bet you it's AI. I think it's AI.
Yeah, then it's really bad.
Yeah,
I could get it if it was like.
What do engineers hate doing? Talking to people. You think an engineer wants to moderate a user forum?
Yeah.
No, it's AI.
That's more work too.
Yeah, you got to deal with a bunch of little a-holes. Only AI
like a voting system.
Who's pedantic enough to uppercase the O?
I wouldn't include that word in my thumbnail, my title.
Oh yeah, you go pedantic. What's pedantic mean?
No, it's
nitpicky.
Nitpicky. I don't even think you do nitpicky. You say I hate this.
Yeah.
Well, because the idea is like any big. I think my thought on that is like any big word has it's a nuanced version of the simple version. So if like you were to say, like you said, difficult versus hard, it's like, what's the difference between hard, difficult, complex, tricky, or whatever? It's like hard just is a generic term, whereas like you had difficult and I don't know, there's like more to think about.
I got another
Whereas
one.
I find like this is hard. You're like, I get it. If you go, this is difficult, my first thought is like, I don't know, there's like, it's complex, there's different, I find in a title you want to just have this is hard. And you're like, okay.
Mystery.
Or doing this is hard.
Mystery.
I feel like Tom Scott would use difficult.
I don't know. It's just like it just adds too much nuance. I find like if you were to like fixing a tractor is difficult.
Difficult
I'd be like, huh?
requires you to explain why it's difficult. Like why is it difficult? But hard means I struggled with it
or something. It's just like it feels. I just accept it on the face value.
Difficult is like implied. Hard is like I personally struggled with it.
Yeah, like maybe. This will be difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
And it turns out it was very hard.
Right. And I kind of think like, dude, I do genuinely hate titles and thumbnails. So like I do appreciate this extension for I think maybe the wrong reasons. I think titles and thumbnails are the worst part of making videos, especially for the second channel, whatever.
For millions of people.
But yeah, like for the main channel, when you do something interesting, but you can't figure out how to describe it in a way that you think would fully explain the motivation to people, that's when I get frustrated. Because you have a limited amount of real estate. People don't actually read the titles. They look at the thumbnail first. So if you have a bad thumbnail, you're shooting yourself in the foot, which is like, I think maybe what a creator of an extension like this doesn't understand is like, people don't read the titles. So if you put a thumbnail that has no information in it, they won't even give it a second chance. Like this single-handedly, if everyone used this, would kill that Michael Reeves video.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just a picture of a desk.
Yeah, picture of a desk.
Picture
of him in front of like it looks like a Khan Academy video.
Right.
For the other one.
It's not even clickbait. There's not even users submitting clickbait. It's not even like what's the clickbait score of this video. And then if it's too high, it gets a new one, an automatic one.
Oh yeah.
Instead, it's like, oh, is it clickbait? No. Here's a new one anyways.
I wonder what else the app's doing. Is it like injecting ads into?
Probably. It's probably taking over
referral codes.
Referral codes, yeah.
Stealing your data in some way.
It leaves the title? Yeah. You can set it to leave the title. Oh, they do have a voting system. Oh, that's cool. You know the people that are installing this and voting, though, are like the worst.
Mm-hmm. Wait, would it be possible to edit a YouTube video like on the fly?
Yeah. I actually was thinking that earlier. Yeah.
Really?
Okay, so what do you think about this, Nigel? Everyone's seen the audience retention curve, right? It starts off really high. It drops down to like between, I would say
3 and 5%.
3 and 5%. It starts
per second.
Yeah. I would say a good video hovers a little like around 50%, kind of in the middle of the video. And it can vary like plus or minus 15, 20%.
Depends how many people, like how far from your audience it goes to. And there's,
right.
But yeah, either way.
So what you do,
anywhere between like 30 and 70.
You take the parts of the video that are like lower retention and you either just cut them out or speed them up. You figure out the curve. So imagine you have like a value of retention and you speed up those parts of the video dynamically to flatten the curve perfectly.
Yeah.
So the slower parts get sped up and the faster parts maybe get dragged out. Like you get lots of slow motion on the action.
Yeah.
And then like high-pitched chipmunk voice on the lectures.
You have the worst video creation ever.
I took my user's advice and made the perfect video, and it's just like horrible.
But what if it's like one website where you upload all the footage to, and they like scroll through and they make the cuts, and then the YouTube editor cuts.
You'd have to start with something. You'd have to start with like a rough cut.
Maybe, but it could also be funny,
okay, so this is what happens. If you take the raw footage, it's because it's so mundane, they're going to skip to the idea that's in their head from clicking on the video, right? So imagine it's like, I made a very big bear trap because it couldn't cut people in half. And so we changed the title for you.
Okay, but what if they have to keep...
No, you know what they're going to do. You know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to go right to the bear trap. snapping.
You think so?
They're going to ignore everything else.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Because,
well, I mean, what's to stop them from taking your rough cut and just cutting out the first half of the video?
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that would be funny.
God, who are we? We can go full. Yeah, the second channel is going to be brutalized, and I deserve it. Wait, I actually want to read these. Okay. So it goes from farmers steal government water. What did that do? It's the second one. So the original title was Farmers Steal Government Water, and it's trying to fix my excavator and turn on my agricultural water supply. Yeah, don't use the word agricultural in a title. Okay. Farmers with Brain Damage is back, and it's collecting soil samples from my yard, checking my rat trap. Okay, Mars Rover sent me a box. Mark Rober sent me a box and unboxing fan mail. The disrespect. They're just taking the thumbnails. God, it's a bad thumbnail.
They're just like capitalizing words that were supposed to be capitalized.
Dude, this is like, there's a little bit of like someone coming in and being like, oh, you didn't spell the word right. Like, it's got this like you're doing it wrong energy, but instead of like sending you an email, they made an app that like just gets in and changes it.
I mean, it makes sense though. Michael's.
Yeah, but the guy who made it decided to do that. Why can't I have lower? Wait, are they capitalizing? They're capitalizing mine too? I could understand if it's all caps, lowercase.
Okay, this guy is.
Dude, there's
that like, was a personal thing. He's like, I don't like it when titles aren't capitalized correctly.
Wait, yeah, I don't capitalize my titles.
No, I do on the second channel. I do all lowercase.
Yeah, that's better.
Like, yeah.
But Michael and Nigel's videos, the titles and thumbnails are pretty optimized.
I don't like that. That thumbnail is a picture of my child. I definitely think that's fucking weird. That's I don't like that. Oh, okay.
Interesting.
I thank you for introducing us to this. Do we I don't know how much people want to hear about like storytelling, but I think that making videos is like a lot of storytelling, whether the YouTuber realizes it or not. But I think even Nigel, like your videos have storytelling. You're not just doing something, right? Like when you are building a project, a lot of mistakes, like the mistake that I think YouTube engineers or YouTube makers make is they focus on the thing they're building.
Yeah, it's very linear.
Right. It's like, and then I drilled this hole. And
relentless
then I
progression from point A to point B.
And if you ever watched, Mythbusters growing up, it's not about building it. It's about trying to build it.
Yeah. And the ups and downs along the way.
Exactly. And so when you're doing a video about, turning styrofoam into cinnamon candy, like what is the motivation? Do you remember? Like, why did you do it? Because that's what the audience expects. They expect you to tell them why.
Yeah, and like what the stakes are at each portion of the video.
Exactly. Like I have to explain to a viewer why I want to make cinnamon out of plastic.
I mean, like I think a better one would be like when I made purple gold, because that one was the way it started was I wanted to make a ring of purple gold, which didn't exist.
Yeah.
But I do find what is tough with all these videos, kind of like what you alluded to, is that how the video, like planning the video is harder than, I would say just as much effort as the science of the video.
Yeah.
Because it's like the video has to go the way that I want it to. Well, it doesn't have to. I want it to go a certain way. And it's like the decisions you make, if you make a dumb decision, it can lead you down a path of just like the video just gets super boring and annoying. So a lot of it is like a lot of thinking about what your next step is and how to navigate through the story of what you're doing so that when it all comes together, it makes sense. And you're not just like going in circles or doing, I don't know, like just wasting time.
Right. It's definitely one of the lessons that I learned early on, like very early on YouTube, is just because you filmed it doesn't mean you need to use it.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the storytelling, is you are trying to accomplish a goal. The audience feels good when they watch you progress towards that goal. There is a rate of progression required, and it varies depending on the type of viewer. If maybe if they watch a lot of TikTok, you got to be faster. If they watch a lot of YouTube, you can go slower. And if you don't achieve that rate, they will skip forward and get bored. And so when you run into a problem, you overcome it. That's progression. It's good for the story.
Mm-hmm.
If you run into a problem and your first solution doesn't work, that's interesting. Your second solution doesn't work. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Your third,
depending on if the third solution works or not.
Don't show it.
Yeah.
Maybe you did this just before. You tried drilling a hole, but your drill bits kept breaking, or this or that, and you came up with a solution. And then your next problem. Oh, I had another problem, and so here's my first. If you just went through 3 solutions to one problem, you got to make quite a bit of progress to compensate and make up for that. And so then you skip ahead.
Yeah, or find a clever way to show all 3 of those at the same time, or explain what you did in a way that's not showing you every single step in failure.
The literal process of how you overcome a problem, whether it's engineering or some other form of storytelling, is not how you tell the story. You take the literal process and you condense it, you accelerate it, you omit stuff. Maybe sometimes you make some things up to help explain it better, so that the audience watching it feels like they A, understand what's going on, and B, feel like it's well paced. Like you can just sit down and watch it.
I was going to say too, another thing that I learned was you don't, if you ever have to show anything twice, whether it's a problem or just mentioning something, the second time is always way fast. Like you have to mention it. Every mention is faster and faster and faster.
Oh
so
yeah,
it's just like,
definitely.
If you put something together and then later in the video you kind of had to do it again, it gets like half a sentence. Even if it was 3 minutes earlier in the video, you just be like, oh yeah, I built this again and then did this, and you kind of like just summarize everything.
Oh yeah, like look, it's our old friend, the leaky bottle of nitric acid back again, and then you come back to it and you're just screaming at it the next time it starts leaking or something.
You just like every time you mention it, it's like less and less because the audience has already seen it. Yeah. Which I find actually helps me, because if you get stuck doing things over and over, you have to film less and less. Yeah. Which makes the process less tedious.
It's much easier to be repetitive and struggle when you don't also have to film it. It's kind of like once you learn that, you can kind of just be like, okay, I can just work on this and I don't have to worry about documenting it. Unless
that is a great feeling.
Yeah, I actually love that. When I can put headphones in and listen to music, I'm like, I love that. That's my favorite part of doing anything. Yeah, whether it's like, making thumbnail titles or just building something, knowing I don't have to film it, and if I can listen to music, like I'm way happy.
Yeah.
The thing that I hate is let's say you have something that you don't know what's wrong with it, you're trying to troubleshoot and fix it, and it's like you don't know what the solution is, and there could be like 5 things to check. It's like, it's already annoying that you have to fix the thing, but then having to set up the shot, and you set it up, do everything, and then it's like you spend half your time setting up the shot, then it doesn't work, and you're like, well, that's not even going to appear in the video.
Yep.
It just makes everything take so much longer.
Yeah, I appreciate the idea, like, and I understand the frustration with clickbait titles and thumbnails, but I think YouTube in general does a pretty good job of like nipping those. Like, my understanding of how the algorithm works, the almighty algorithm, the almighty decider of how much money we get every single month, is there's some criteria, there's some amalgamation of signals that amount to satisfaction. So if you click on a video, and it's clickbait and you're not satisfied, I genuinely believe that YouTube is as big of a behemoth as they are because they have correctly done that. They know that somebody didn't like the video. So if you're making a clickbait video and people like it, it's going to recommend it.
That means it's a good video. If you're seeing the video in your feed, that means it's probably a pretty good fit for you.
Yes.
That you would enjoy the video and watch it and give YouTube ad money, because that's what they're here to do.
Yes. I would say I generally trust YouTube to deliver videos that you will enjoy watching. Obviously, it's not going to get it every single time. Like, sometimes it's going to give you some, low view count videos and do experiments to see kind of what you're into.
Or it's like, I'm interested in that video, I just don't want to watch it right now.
Right.
I want to watch something mindless.
Like when I see people, right. When you how often do you see people bitch about this? Like the algorithm, and they just, and I feel kind of bad saying this, but like they just don't realize that their videos are not good.
Oh yeah.
Or they've gotten worse. Like, if your video is good, even if it's clickbait, like people are gonna watch it.
Mhm.
That's the secret. That's like the secret, dude. That's it.
I would say that because I agree with that, but to add to it, I'll say there is a level of like your video being good, but for whatever reason, it just like it isn't taking off. But to qualify that, I mean, you're not getting 10 views. There's people whose videos are just they're kind of like undiscovered creators, but their videos are still good. So they're getting anywhere between like 50 to a few 100,000 views, and then they get discovered, quote unquote, and now they're getting like 1 million plus per video. But they weren't in the realm of like 600 views a video.
Well, maybe their videos just started getting better.
600. Sorry.
Maybe their videos got better.
Get
from
good.
Between those 2 points.
I have seen some channels, not off the top of my head, I don't know, where it's like you'd see them at like a 200K and you're like, this is like really good. And then like 2 months later, the videos just kind of take off. But they were getting like tens of thousands of views pretty quickly from somebody who started, not that long ago, let's say in some cases. I'm just saying that I've seen people complain and you look at their channel and they're like 400 views. I was like, if you're stuck at 400 for like 6 months, it's definitely your content.
I remember when I first started making videos. I made one. The project was turning a pumpkin into a battle bot, and it was the longest video I'd ever made by like a margin. And I'd only made like I don't even remember at that point, like I don't know, a dozen videos or something. It was like 16 or 17 minutes long, and it still lives in my head as like a really important lesson on the fact that like you are telling a story. Because when we made videos, like we came out of like high school and college, John and I making these like stupid shorts, like with special effects and whatnot.
Yeah.
And there's no story. It's just like a bit. It's like, here's an idea we have. We're going to do it. It's almost like you like snapped into a really bad TV show, pulled a minute out of it, and that's it. No context, no nothing.
Yeah.
It's genuinely just
it's just
technical.
like showcing this one bit.
Technical aspects, right?
Yeah.
It's like, here's this technical thing we did with, science and engineering and green screen and computer crap. And so like the first videos I ever made that were on what is, the main channel was just, here is me showing something that I did. And so you're kind of like naturally telling a story of like, here's this thing, here's how it works. And then you're like, well, I want to build something. Why do I want to build it? You're like, I had this idea to do this. So you're almost just like naturally, like pretend like you're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Like that's the secret.
Like one person.
Pretend like you're talking to one person.
Yeah.
And that person doesn't know what you're talking about. And so you have to like give them all the context they need of like, where did you get the idea to turn, to make purple gold? Like, why can't you just buy it? Like, what are the challenges going to be?
Yeah. I mean, I actually do that. Like, when I'm explaining to Sandra what I'm doing in my video, like what this next part of the video is.
YouTubing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I try to explain it to her and I'm like, wait, she doesn't have any context. So I have to like provide her context to what I'm doing. And it's like practice for what I'm going to tell the audience in the video, like why I'm doing this.
Do you know what the ultimate clickbait is? It's a book and a movie. It's called Dune.
Okay.
I think we should give it a different title.
Which Dune?
Sandy Star Wars?
Yeah.
Big sandworms. You remember the sandworms? Everything else is political space thriller.
Yes. Yeah, it's like space House of Dragons, space Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but you can't compare it to something else.
Okay.
House of Dragons is clickbait. There's not a fucking house, and there's no dragons.
There's hardly.
I'm dragging my balls across this clickbait.
There's dragons.
Are there dragons in a house?
Clickbait. The house is it's a concept. The house,
Yeah, a construct.
Yeah.
The concept of clickbait. What's your most clickbait video idea?
Like me?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know.
I feel like
I don't make
got some bangers.
Man.
No, you do, but your clickbait is like, I think that's part of the magic of your channel is it sounds like a lie. Every one of your titles sounds like a lie.
I made a nuclear bomb.
One day I will lie. I made a nuclear bomb.
You make the title so long that at the end it's like in unity.
Oh yeah.
But are you saying like an actual clickbait thing or just like an
I feel like maybe
an idea that couldn't actually.
Well,
what if it's an atomic trampoline, but it shows like a little atom bouncing on a little trampoline made of atoms?
Yeah. What is an atomic trampoline anyway? Is that even a
yeah,
phrase
that's
you can
clickbait.
say? That is clickbait.
That's clickbait.
And they fucking left it.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be like making a really bouncy piece of metal.
Yes.
No, because the atomic trampoline was not a brand name, but it was a name that was exactly. So I'm referring to I'm referring to their
Coca-Cola doesn't have cocaine in it anymore. Clickbait. They should just call it brown sugar water.
Yeah, brown sugar water. And then what's the picture on it? Like corn? Is it corn syrup?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is corn and water.
Making brown sugar water.
I think that pretty much the entirety of your life is people trying to convey information to you. And sometimes you got to pump it up a little bit more. Like a lot of times a title and thumbnail of a video that's been done properly is an indication that the video itself might just be better than your average video. If you see a video on YouTube that is just a screenshot, immediately you probably know it's not a good video. Because it's like, that is an amateur piece of content.
It's like they didn't try
exactly.
there. How do I know they're going to be trying?
In the video, right?
It depends on the type of video. Obviously, like some of these, like some very technical stuff. Like if you're looking, off the top of my head, I'm thinking about this. Like you look up something about like how a specific HVAC system or something works. You get the random occasional dude who's just carrying his phone around, filming and talking, and but some of them are terrible, but some of them are actually really insightful, and it's exactly what you wanted. And it could even be a bit entertaining, but the thumbnail and title just are terrible.
Yeah.
But I would say that's rare, to be fair.
I think if you're looking up like the kind of classic technical YouTube where you're looking for what the buttons on your fridge are to get into defrost mode.
Yeah.
You don't want a good title and thumbnail. You want that to be like a 30-second video.
But when you click on that and it's like an 8-minute long video.
Yeah, I know. I actually couldn't figure that out on my fridge. I used ChatGPT and it worked. I can't believe it. I still can't believe ChatGPT did something technically useful for me.
Yeah,
it told me what two buttons to press and how long to press them for to put it in the defrost mode, and it worked. And I couldn't find it anywhere else.
Is great.
I know.
I've been seeing so many people like post like they like post whole transcripts of ChatGPT
as a video.
No, like online on Reddit as comments or like arguing in YouTube comments.
And they'll say it was ChatGPT.
No, they won't. They won't. But you can tell just by how it structures it by like breaking it down into like sections and paragraphs and like the bold. The first section is bold, and they'll use it. You can gaslight ChatGPT into saying whatever you want it to. Literally. So everybody just uses it to like confirm their own beliefs.
Bias.
Yeah. It's so bad. And people just like, the people are so deluded. They think that it's right, that the ChatGPT, that they're right because ChatGPT agreed with them.
I don't use it that much. I take it with a grain of salt. I kind of like
I love it.
If I'm at the ends,
I use it for little things like what you use it for, but some people use it to like, confirm that there's aliens.
Oh,
basically,
my God.
and that the universe is all interconnected. The universe? We're the universe experiencing itself.
Right.
It's like the kind of stuff that I see on the Reddit.
I love that. I love the fact that like the universe is experiencing itself because it's the kind of bullshit that when we're all fucking dead, you never have to think about again. Can we talk about aliens?
I'm trying to get it to
there was some big news in the alien world.
I hate UFOs.
I hate UFO people.
I hate everything about UFO culture. The worst part about UFO culture is they just like don't like recognize that UFO is not alien. Like if you say UFO, it's alien.
Yeah.
Like they'll say UFO has become a noun.
Oh, that's why they've moved on to UAP.
Oh shit.
Which is unexplained aerial phenomena.
Alien penis.
Yeah.
Unexpected alien penis.
Ooh. That's the worst kind of alien penis.
I have seen an enormous influx of UFO content and conspiracy theories on Twitter.
Yeah.
Dude, like I don't log into Reddit and
I don't have it on my phone.
Multiple posts on the front page. I don't have the app. I just go in the browser and for multiple front page posts about like UFO conspiracy. Like these people are insane.
Yeah.
Like, and then you look at it and it's clearly a fucking airplane.
It's got the FAA lights on it.
And you're like, oh, maybe it's because of video compression
Yeah.
And the fucking God zoomed in 1000x.
Yeah, and the phone's just like, you know.
Oh, but no!
Yeah.
It's gotta be alien. Like literally the most fucking obvious answer. Like imagine there's a bunch of ants in your house and there's a fucking pile of spaghetti on the ground and they're just crawling over the spaghetti.
Yeah.
And you're like, who the fuck let the ants in the house? Somebody is pouring ants into my house.
Yeah.
Like, no!
You can hear the helicopter noises, the rotors. You can see somebody scooping out spaghetti on the floor.
You can see the fucking corner of the JPEG compression, like.
Yeah.
I think what's really funny, this reminds me of us listening to, it's just talking about mentioning flat Earth. There was a funny thing that happened recently.
God, some
guy paid for a few flat earthers to go to Antarctica to prove to them that you can have a 24-hour sun.
Flat
which
earther is
make
a slur,
any
by
sense.
the way. You can't say that anymore.
Wait, this is the thing you knew about this, John?
He knows about it?
They're not gonna. It's not going to change their mind.
No, but just Kevin, it's so funny. So they brought 3 flat earthers there. I think it was 3 of them. And they made videos. And one of the guys like, look, you know what? I'm gonna be honest and I'm gonna say it how it is. Like, I didn't expect this, but you know, there is a 24-hour sun, which, you know, we're gonna have to fix our models. He goes,
how much did they pay these people to say that?
So that's the thing. So Kevin,
nobody else is gonna believe it.
There's 3 flat earthers who they're like shook by this revelation. So they make videos and they're like, look, you might call me a shill, but I have to. He's like, I'm not gonna lie to you. And then the flat earthers that didn't go, all they did, they listened to everything and they go, oh, on that guy's jacket, there's like it's clearly a green screen because there's a green screen effect on his jacket. That's it. That's the end. And they go, oh, it's actually just a green screen. They're on a stage. And everyone's like, but you know, if there's an effect on the jacket, you see the same background as, like, if they're green screening snow, you would see snow on the jacket, but it's different. And there was an explanation for it. The guy just put a setting on his editor because he messed up. Nothing the flat earthers who went to Antarctica would say will convince the flat earthers who are not in Antarctica. And the ways they punch holes in it are just like the smallest nonsensical details that, like what Will said, or Will was pointing out before. It's like, there's so many pieces of evidence pointing towards that they're telling the truth, but they just highlight the most tiny little detail and just use it. In their mind, it blows up the whole theory.
I feel like there is a weird Venn diagram of like being smart and proving something and then debating.
Mm-hmm.
And being smart and proving something is less powerful than debating. Like, you can successfully, if you're a better debater than somebody is smart at something, you can be right.
Yeah, but when I watch debates, I can tell people are doing that, and I'm like, this guy's
but your average
idiot.
person can't.
They can't. It's so crazy.
Or they're like biased, or it's just exciting. Like, I can't tell if the UFOs or this like flat Earth stuff, is it a meme? Is it just being broadcast like much louder than it should be because it's so funny?
What, the UFO stuff or the I think the flat Earth thing is like 50% trolls. 50% like people that believe it.
Did the trolls come first, and then the people like that believe the trolls have got gaslight into?
I think the problem, because I followed all this stuff when it started, like the problem is as the internet has grown, a lot of these things start as a joke. What?
Like cancer.
Yeah, it's like, but all these things start as a joke. Like everyone's like, ha ha ha, the earth is flat. But then there's like some people who go, no, wait, that could be true.
But what
and then it just keeps going. And eventually people just actually take it seriously. And it becomes a thing that people take seriously. And what you mentioned, like the UFO stuff, the flat Earth, there's like, now there's a conspiracy for everything that someone's taking seriously.
In our lifetimes, the 3 of us, individually, and probably significantly less than our lifetimes, could reasonably come up with a proof on our own that the Earth was round.
Yeah, I could come up with one that the Earth was flat too.
I don't think you could. No, I'm just saying, like, if you tried to prove that it was round, you could, without doing any research, you could come up with theories if you spent like, maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah, why don't they try to prove the Earth is round
instead of because they're stupid.
No, they claim the de facto position is that it's
the
flat.
technology that they use to spread the theories, the computer, in their lifetime they could never build. So the thing that is arguably more more complicated and out of reach, they take for granted and don't question at all. The fucking trillions and billions and pentillions of little flips and flops and electrons getting tunneled through tiny little wires. That it's a miracle that any of this works at all.
Yeah.
But the fact that the thing that you could on your own prove is the biggest mystery to them.
Yeah. Try making a computer chip.
Yeah. That's the real conspiracy.
Yeah. How the hell did that alien tech,
basically
reverse
impossible.
engineered alien tech? There's
It's
3 guys in the world that can do it.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a factory that you can't visit.
It's an old bearded man who has no friends. He just makes computers smaller every day.
Yeah.
It reminds me though of like my brother when he's doing a lot of research on kind of like where science even came from, and it was kind of funny because when you talk about it, you're like, that can't.
Very deep concept for this podcast.
No, but like
Where
you're like that can't be
from,
true.
Man?
My brother,
wait,
what? No, but my
Nigel,
brother talked about it. It was thank you.
Breathe in.
My brother talked about it. It was he knows much more detail than I do, but it was this moment in which people kind of were like, "Hey, I have an idea." You know what? Like we see things, we hear things, we taste things, but like we have to start believing things based on like evidence and not just because we see it, like, and not our feelings. It needs to be like, if something happened, just because I didn't see it didn't mean it didn't happen. Like things happen outside of our like perception. And that was a thing that people were like, no, if you don't see it, it's not real.
He was dead
atoms
the next
can't
day.
exist.
Yeah.
You can't see
They
it.
nailed him.
What?
He was dead the next day, like nailed to a post and lit on fire.
But it's like, it's interesting that is kind of innate in humans, is that you, in order to prove something, you want to like experience it. And one of the big things that allowed society and humanity to grow, like technology wise, was trusting data that you cannot see or experience and letting go of that requirement, being like, yeah, it's like, okay, I can't see atoms, but I know they exist because we've done these tests. And I find that people just are innately like that. And unless you're like trained or taught not to be like that, you probably fall back in that position. And I think a lot of people, that's what is happening now, like I said, with the flat earth stuff, where it's like the guys who went there, now they see it, they totally believe it exists. But the guys who didn't see it, they're like, well, I didn't see it with my own eyes, so it doesn't matter.
Tell you what,
it's just like, but I'm saying they see the tech, they see the phone working, so they're like, oh, that tech works.
Yeah.
I can't see the earth is round, therefore it's not round. And it's like their only fix was, some people, is to fly into the atmosphere to see it with your own eyes.
It still looks
and
like a flat surface though when you're high up.
Yeah.
But it's just like, why is that the requirement? Whereas the original way I think the earth they found out was round was literally just sticks in the ground.
Yeah.
Because you could put the sticks in the ground and measure like the shadow from the sun and a bunch of other stuff. And the only way that makes sense mathematically is that it's a sphere. And there's a couple other like things they did, but it's like, sorry, I was finishing like that's how you figure things out. Whereas the solution they want is, I need to see the ball in front of me. And I need to like rotate the ball in front of me to prove it's a sphere. You're like, that's not really a requirement.
There's a lot of things that you straight up can't see.
Yeah.
That you like have to have a more like, I don't even know if scientific is the right word, approach to like trust to make sure that it works. Like you can't see how electricity moves. You can't see how a computer works. You cannot see where the electrons are going. Like you
can like model it,
but that's
right.
Yeah, like you have
based
to
on
theorize
that,
and come up with like a numerical model
that fits what you can observe.
Exactly, and it's like if we limited ourselves just to things you could like visually prove and see with your own eyes,
you get
finite element analysis.
Radios,
you get nothing. But you get nothing done. And I was gonna say, I think what's even dumber is like the average person. The only way you can function is by assumptions on past experience, and you assume outcomes based on like
the prediction machine.
That's the only way you can, predictions. And just because you can't see it, you'll know something happened. Like if I hear something happening in another room, I don't need to literally see it to know. It's like, oh, I hear it, and there's like other clues that you can you can infer to be like, this happened based on,
there's like a specific scratching sound that I know is Kevin's dog dragging its asshole across like the burlap rug under the table. It's like,
but it's like,
you don't need to observe it. You can just,
I can hear it.
You can infer it based on,
you're like, I know his dog's there.
He's dragged his butt on. And the sound that your foot makes on the carpet.
You actually turn your dog into like a surface, like a finish measuring machine. It's like a microphone in his butt.
How rough it is.
Smooth.
But then it's like the extension is, instead of having, I mean, I think what's interesting too. I didn't hear what you said, Kevin.
It squeaks.
If it squeaks, that means it's really clean, and polished.
I think what's interesting in terms of science is like all the instruments that are used now to detect stuff, they are just extensions of senses. And it's like, why can't those be accepted? It's like, no, only sight, smell, and all those things end up being like, the really trusted things for some people. Whereas like, a sensor for, detecting light or all this other stuff, they're like, oh, that could all be, it's like, that's no good. And you're like, no, that's actually way better than your senses.
I don't know how much this applies, but it made me think of how they add the scent to natural gas. Like you cannot sense natural gas, which is really dangerous.
I can.
With what? A lighter?
A lighter.
No. If I've with a lighter or by dying.
And so you make it so that you can sense it to prevent the problems that I'm assuming happen.
Yeah, I don't believe in flammable gas.
Right?
Well, that's the story. That's the canary in the coal mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Carbon monoxide.
That's what it was. It's because
I think so.
The canaries, I think
hydrogen sulfide.
They're extremely or it was hydrogen it was hydrogen sulfide. I think it's like they're extremely sensitive to something. So it's like I guess it was probably hydrogen sulfide.
Bad energy in the mines.
They die at a level so low.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was just hydrogen sulfide. So my story was incorrect. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, like you just because you can't observe it.
All right, well, let me tell you about this. I will not believe that aliens exist until you show me an alien or show me a spaceship.
Yeah, that has more than 4
Actually,
pixels.
that could be fake.
And no JPEG
No,
compression.
I have to see it with my own eyes.
Yeah. I will not believe that aliens exist until I get probed with my own ass.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's perfectly reasonable.
I think so too. And there was this thing on the UFO subreddit. I can't help it. I'm still addicted to it.
Fuck,
it's basically there's like some news. It's called News Nation. It's a cable TV show that I didn't even know existed.
News Nation.
Mm-hmm. And they promised that they had like concrete proof of an alien spaceship crash retrieval. And they're like, the subreddit's going wild. Like, we're finally getting disclosure. It's finally happening. And I'm like, dude, it's going to be like, it's not. Because if it was something good, they would have led with that. They would have shown you a teaser of the clip to get you interested to go watch their news channel. Because and of course it was like the grainiest night vision photo of some, like, it looks like an egg dangling underneath the helicopter. And then everybody's like, what? Not again. We've been tricked again. Like, I got my hopes up for this. It has
to be like they know what it's like. They're playing characters, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's entertainment.
Yeah,
they're trying to get you to watch. Nobody would have watched
it. The viewers, the people in the subreddit have to just be like playing a joke, right? Like,
no.
It's like you're role playing. We're role playing.
I don't think they are.
You don't think so?
No,
getting their hopes up. I was going to say, like, you just mentioned that they're hyping up this footage and like they're doing it as entertainment. I have never seen something that was hyped up like in that way for entertainment that actually ended up having any substance.
Yeah.
Because anything with substance doesn't need to be hyped up. So it's just like the moment you see any level of advertisement or hype, I was like, oh, so they don't have anything.
Yeah.
I just want to put this out there. I think that aliens are probably real.
Yeah, I mean, they probably are.
Like, yeah, statistically.
I would not bet my life against it. If I had to choose that there's some life form off this planet or not, and I get death if I'm wrong, I would say there probably is.
Yeah, I would go with that too.
And then if I died, you guys would have the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, win-win.
Now we just wait to see if you get smited from somebody in the future or something.
Like, if there are not aliens, smite me dead right now. There it is.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not sure what we just proved. But
that's the scientific method. We tested it.
Maybe there's a delay.
I think something else I was going to say that I think is also a factor in all this is like determining the level of what is an amount of evidence that's acceptable. It's kind of like when the kid keeps asking, but why? And it goes on until like you just can't answer.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with evidence. It's like Kevin says, I'll believe aliens exist when I see them.
It says One Nation Under God on their website.
I would be like, well, how do I know that's an alien spaceship? It's like, okay, well, I'll see the alien themselves. Well, how do I know it's not a guy in a suit? Okay, well, you have to.
What if it's like a really ugly dog?
It's just like, yeah, it's like a really good like face.
You ever seen the Goonies?
It's just like,
the guy, the one-eyed guy, One-Eyed Willie.
I never saw it, but I know what you're talking about.
I think that could be an alien if I saw that in real life, and then that would be mean of me to say, and I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, that would hurt his feelings.
What is an alien?
What do you mean? What's an alien?
What is an alien?
How are you debating the semantics of?
I'm just saying, like, what if there's like one little like bacteria, but it's not bacteria. It's something else.
Yeah, like from Mars.
Yeah, little thing.
Or
that's a lame alien, though.
What about from like Europa? You know, they say there might be life under all the ice. But then again, it's probably just like, you know, single-celled little wigglers.
Right.
Wigglers don't count. No, it has to be. It has to be able to probe me. Or wipe out.
Wiggler. Are you kidding me? That's like the best thing to probe you, bro.
Alien.
I can't get probed by a wiggler. That's
a real alien will.
Yeah.
Has an alien parasite.
Yeah. Spaceship.
A real alien has a spaceship.
Oh, we fucking barely aliens.
What?
We're barely aliens. Have you seen our shitty spaceships? They can go like what, 250,000 miles with people on them?
Dude, we would die before it even gets out of the solar system.
I know.
Yeah.
Aliens have spaceships.
Yeah.
Okay. We all know that.
Yes.
And they also have weapons that we don't understand.
Yes. Really powerful ones. And they came here. Could you imagine we, as a planet, we can barely bring a potato to Mars, but instead we bring a laser cannon and we use it to obliterate other planets.
That'll happen soon. But I feel like that's something I think about too, in the sense of like, because you for a while, a couple years ago, were on a helicopter. You had a helicopter obsession.
Yeah.
And you shared all those videos of like the tests. They could barely get off the ground. And it was so shaky and horrible. And I just think about, I don't know if it's like impressive or just scary, where you're like, hey, that's where you started, this shaky piece of crap that could barely get off the ground. Then you're like, fast forward 20 years, you have just like, you know, an Apache helicopter that can maneuver. It has guns on it, launch missiles.
Looks
and I'm
cool.
like, that's kind of how right now we can't take a potato to Mars, but fast forward in, you know, so many years, we'll have laser guns and we'll be blowing up foreign civilizations.
Well, yeah.
Don't worry.
Wait, no. I don't think that's what the aliens want to hear.
We're coming for you, single cell wigglers. And we're gonna. Who's the prober now?
We're gonna be probing them, coming to a planet near you.
Better probe them before they probe us. Was that Star Wars? Han probed first.
Yeah.
Or wait.
Oh wait, how far has our like communications traveled in the solar system or something? It's like 100 light years by now, right? So maybe there's an alien civilization.
Well, it's just however many years
since the first radio
with
transmission.
The word light after it.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably like,
you know, just
on accident, probably hundreds of years, in the 100 years.
Yeah. So imagine being like, you know, just like driving your spaceship and then you pick up a signal and you're like, hey,
shitty old.
Let's probe them.
What would be the first like radio signals?
Like spark gap transmitter or something?
Or like what were they broadcasting? Is it just like information?
Oh, like telegraph maybe?
Because like they could pick up like someone's like Nikola Tesla's like remote control boat signals.
Oh yeah. Like modulated signals would stand out.
Yeah, I guess signals with like useful information. What? Geez, I'm just gonna make numbers up. The 1800s, right?
No, not the farthest.
When was like the first industrial radio transmitter? Jeez, this is so funny because I don't know. I don't even know how to pinpoint the dates, but also like it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
What do you?
Also, we haven't heard anything from any aliens either.
I know. 1920 first commercial.
Maybe we just missed
commercial radio. That's for like. What about
could have.
What about like 1890s? Yeah, because like broadcasting audio over radio is like a pretty like a big step from like radio.
Yeah,
like sending like telegram data or like just binary
beeps
data. Yeah, like
bops.
beeps and bops would be like what I would kind of consider the first. I mean, I'm assuming it's the 1800s, late 1800s, mid 1800s. 1890 physicist. Yeah. So yeah, I guess probably around 1900. Geez. So 120, like 150 years. We've been sending radios with data out of, so 150. Yeah. That's so more than 100 light years away.
Yeah.
Those
if we have any neighbors, they would know that we're here.
They would have beeped and bopped back at us.
They
would have been like, boop, boop,
yeah, we'll find out in 100 years.
And then we would have been like, we don't know.
Hell yeah, I can't wait.
Gosh, that's interesting. It's really not that long of a time.
Well, I mean, there's also, I was going to say, I don't know if I think this is the theory that people are, just idea that people have had, where it's like the Earth, how old's the Earth? Allegedly, like 4 billion years
6,000 years?
Give or take a couple billion.
That's my PragerU GPT.
Yeah.
if I think that it's because it's like the universe is so old.
How do they know it?
I know. Yeah, Google says 4.5 billion. No. Okay, I'm sorry. Google says 4.543 billion years.
Down to down to the 100,000 years.
Yeah.
If it's 4.5 billion, and it just so happens that humanity is here now, the likelihood that other civilizations could have even popped up a billion years ago. Meaning that if we haven't been visited by aliens, there's probably no society that has developed like light speed travel or whatever, light speed travel. And we are just stuck in our own little bubbles.
Infinite monkeys.
Yeah, let's start breeding.
Infinite monkeys can't write Shakespeare.
Well, I mean, theoretically they can.
We are the monkeys. Infinite monkeys can't make light travel. I'm just saying
we can't escape.
Like, if
the sun will consume us before we figure it out.
Exactly. No.
We'll consume ourselves.
Yes, I think that like society probably lasts a couple thousand years. They invent computers, then they invent social media, and like consistently, like 20 years after social media is invented, everyone kills themselves.
It's the consistent.
That's the only light speed travel
wall
we get.
That society hits.
Sending insults to each other around the world at light speed. I definitely wish we lived in an era where I could look forward to airplanes, not the downfall of humanity from social media. I guess we see like a lot of rocket stuff now too. But that's just filling our atmosphere with debris, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it'll be cool once it all like starts colliding with each other.
Fireworks,
yeah. Did you see the video of the SpaceX, like the Starship coming back down?
So cool.
Dude, I wish that would happen all the time.
I know.
Like all the satellites just start.
Imagine if there was not a news report on that. The UFO subreddits would have gone fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, they did.
Space jellyfish!
I looked on Twitter. That's how I found out about this, was I just logged onto Twitter and then I saw like that.
That's your first mistake.
And it said like, what could this be? Some kind of unexplained aerial phenomenon?
Oh my God. No, some shit blew up in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I know. Some shit, yeah.
God damn it. It's not that hard.
What gets me is like, at least for me personally, when I see something that I can't explain, my first thought is, well, it's probably explainable. I'm going to try to, find some clues and put it together. I don't understand the people who just go, I can't explain it. And then it's just like, with no evidence, it's certain there's just this ludicrous outcome. It's like, yep, aliens.
Right, dude, that's like exactly what Stack Overflow is. You're just like, I don't have anything here, so I'm just going to keep digging and see what. I don't know how to explain this, so I'll make up a solution. Dude, it's like, it's very reminiscent of like a, like the sort of AI chat GPT. What do they call that? Like hallucinating. Where you're taking the patterns, like, because you could come up with an answer to everything, which is probably my favorite part of AI. It's like a torture test, right? Like, it's like the write a story about a frog that learns how to drive a car. All of us could do that. Yeah. And it wouldn't make any sense. I mean, maybe it'd be good. Who knows? Maybe it's like the next Harry Potter. And you can just do that. Like anyone.
A frog that learns how to drive and runs over humans instead.
Yeah, revenge.
Yeah.
Oh.
When I was just a tadpole, my mother got run over by a Ford F-150. So I. How do you? Oh yeah, I don't know. See,
the AI spirit of Frogger.
Yeah. Could he be a toad?
It could be a toad.
Road toad.
Road toad.
Freeway frog.
We're gonna take this brand to international. We're gonna have grocery stores. Rocky Road Toad.
Yeah.
Ice cream. That's all I got. There's got to be other ideas too.
Rocky Road Toad. That's it.
That's all I got.
Netflix could probably make like 10 seasons of Road Toad. They could figure it out.
Toad on the road. So like you see something and you just say something and then it just kind of gets broadcast. I feel like every time you see something on like Twitter, you're just like, is this news?
I
don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe it's like some video somebody found from 10 years ago and they're acting like it's just happening.
They just zoomed in a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's like, the day that you see something that is actually aliens, I think it'll be so obvious. I think it'll be so obvious.
Yeah.
Like if you see something in the sky, you're going to know if it's aliens.
Yeah. I mean, I saw something in the sky before.
Lasering everyone.
I saw something. I don't know what it was, but
it probably wasn't aliens.
Yeah. No. I don't know what else it could have been though. My only theory is that maybe
it was
a meteor that came down and it turned into like a disc shape.
Yeah.
And then that's why, because it like whatever I saw like came down and then did like a Nike swoosh and headed back the other direction and it was glowing.
Maybe that was just the Earth accelerating.
So I'm thinking maybe like the meteor started burning up and turned into like a maybe boomerang shape and flew off in a different direction.
Okay, so
why do I feel like that's less likely?
All I saw was an orange light.
What if? Okay, so the disc shape probably comes from the like superheated air, right?
All I saw was like a point of light that moved like it looked like it came close and then like did a Nike swoosh away.
Why would a Nike swoosh? There's got to be.
I'm saying it just looked like it wasn't
Nike
a streak. It looked like it moved and went back in a different direction. And it was moving like this, like a shooting star. So maybe it was a shooting star that like started ablating and changed direction.
You have video of it?
No.
I won't believe it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And if you did have video, it's probably doctored anyway.
My dad saw it.
Really?
Yeah. We were in the car. And I even emailed my astronomy teacher at the time. And I see it. And
what if it was like a missile or something?
That's kind of how it moved, like a missile that was changing trajectory.
I like how we're trying to come up with a theory of how it could be a meteorite when like we've invented shit that does exactly this.
Yeah. But like, why would they be shooting that over Sarasota?
Dude, have you seen the shit they did in America over the past 100 years? Why would they blow nukes in Vegas?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point.
Of course they're going to use Sarasota. It's a shithole.
Yeah, nobody would care. Nobody would notice.
What, you're going to kill like a bunch of people that were basically dead already and like a couple alligators?
Yeah, nobody's going to check up on their grandma. They never do anyway.
You kept a python or two. What do they call Florida? The golden with the
Hell's Waiting Room.
Hell's Waiting Room. Especially Sarasota. Yeah, I don't like UFOs. I hate UFOs.
Yeah.
I hate the people who like UFOs. I hate the people that like flat Earth. I even think part of me feels like I shouldn't.
Got a lot of hate in you, man.
I do, because I think that it just makes people dumber. I don't know how to describe it. Like hating on flat Earth people feels like it's entertainment thing. Where like the reason we see so much flat Earth is because of how easy it is to shit on.
Yeah, just like, dunk on them.
There's this critical mass where there's enough people that like flat Earth and a majority of people that think it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's
it's fodder.
Yeah, it's a feedback cycle.
And so we brought a bunch of attention to flat Earth and made it feel like, because like if you're making a story and the narrative is flat Earth, like of course you have to build it up like this is some super serious thing. These people are like hyper dedicated to the flat Earth thing. They take it super seriously.
Biggest thing to happen to the flat Earth community since the guy killed himself in a rocket.
Yeah, the steam rocket.
Yeah.
And so it just is like, it's like elevating just noise. I feel like we've had this conversation before of similar stuff of like just letting the most insane group of people like scream as loud as possible to the most and like giving it any form of legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you see a crazy person on the side of the road screaming, you just kind of ignore them.
Yeah.
But now imagine you start paying attention to them. People are like, oh, here's this thing. Now it's in my brain. Like
the problem is that it used to be expensive to broadcast, whereas now the crazy person screaming has a phone and can broadcast it to millions of people.
That uses GPS, that uses satellites to orbit the goddamn round Earth.
The flat Earth.
Flat Earth. Sorry.
And don't orbit.
What's that theory? Is there a theory to compensate for the flat Earth satellite? You know what? I can't. I actually. It's so obvious. It's so fucking. Have you ever played with a fucking yo-yo? It's spun around your head. That's how satellites work. Why would it be any different?
My problem with a lot of the I don't even know. I wouldn't even call it pseudoscience because I don't even know what the classification is.
Trash.
But like flat Earth stuff is the thing I find funny is when people, I would say in a pseudoscience, try to use science to prove their theory, but at the same time they claim science is flawed. But it's like they don't realize that science is so interconnected that by throwing out this thing they don't like, it like can discredit the thing they're using to prove their thing.
Oh yeah, so like COVID vaccines, like the science is wrong. Let me show you this study that I found that
exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's like all part of the same system. So it's like by completely disregarding this section, you're actually discrediting the evidence that you're using to prove your point, which means that you're just doing nothing. It's like this weird thing. It's like a lot of pseudoscience people are obsessed with truth and science, but they're just doing it in the worst way
I feel
possible.
like what's happening is there's this monkey. It's all cut up. It like got in a fight with a barbed wire fence. It has hepatitis.
Okay.
And it's super contagious. Has super AIDS also.
Yeah, monkey herpes.
And we're like looking at it like we want to fight it. That's us versus the flat earth.
Yeah, but that monkey lives inside all of us.
Like, yeah, like we can't win. Even if we kill the monkey, we're getting hepatitis and super monkey AIDS.
Yeah, you're losing just by engaging in that fight.
Yeah, if you see the bloody hepatitis monkey, you walk away. That's my flat earth theory.
Very eloquently put, Will.
I just can't. I'm like trying to think about why it bothers me so much. Like it's like it just don't engage with it. Like that's what it is.
Yeah,
there's like so many cooler things.
At some point, I've probably like engaged in like and then I realized it's rage bait. Yeah, basically. So or
there's like a teenager messing with you.
Yeah, could be also, and then I would be the asshole. I would be the bait.
I'm trying to think of like my most like scientific fringe. I think my hot take.
Oh no,
that radiation's not as bad for you as people think. Is that a hot take?
Probably.
It depends.
I know that would make some people mad.
It depends on how you mean.
I think that like it's been built up to be such a fearful thing, but when you look at the dosages, of like your like things people do regularly that they don't think twice about,
and just how much radiation is hitting us
all the time.
I mean,
like,
one
your body's really good at fixing
repairing,
that damage.
Yeah.
One stat you might like is that I'm pretty sure I don't know the exact numbers, but it'll be something like the safe dose per year for the average person is like 1 millisievert. I actually don't know the numbers, so don't quote me. But what they would then say, what?
1 megasievert?
No, they would say like, but if you're a radiation worker, you can do up to like 20.
Yeah.
10 or 20. And then I'm always like, okay, but are you killing them?
I think it's actually like 100, like 50 or 100.
It could be. I'm just giving numbers as in like it's significantly higher.
Like 1,000.
And you're like, so
3 a day, baby.
But it's just like the government, no one in the government's like, yeah, we're just sending these people off to die. They still think it's relatively safe.
It's just statistics, right? Like how many years of someone's life can you statistically remove before it's too dangerous? Yeah.
Like, to be fair though, the number of people who work in like some industries, like when I was looking up stuff about beryllium, it ends up being pretty bad. And like silicosis and some of these other things, the incidence rate is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So maybe in the radiation stuff, it could be like the cancer rates are significantly higher. But again, still like, they're 10 times the rate. And you're like, okay, I had I probably statistically wasn't going to get cancer, and now I still probably won't. But now you might.
I did read that air workers and like airline workers that are in the sky a lot do have a
higher incidence
of cancer.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure. I would say for sure.
But it kind of makes me think in general. Would you trade being exposed to more radiation in exchange for being exposed to less microplastics, or the other way around? Would you rather take more microplastics and less radiation?
Can I have both?
Like the devil,
what
I guess.
exactly? What is actually scarier? And what is being like? What do you think is scarier? Like what?
I think the radiation breaks down the microplastics in you.
and mix it into
nanoplastics. Oh no,
that might be better though, right?
Yeah. Or they just get tangled around your DNA now.
Oh shit!
Like little
Plastic
nooses.
Man?
Yeah.
And you become
like
part plastic.
Little plastic wigglers.
Botox, yeah.
But no.
Like I
feel like it depends on the amount, but I feel like you know exactly what a bit more radiation does, but you have no idea what any microplastic does.
Yeah. What is the history of microplastics? Like, where are we at in the microplastics era?
I mean, plastic
10 years,
has been
20
around
years,
for
40 years.
I mean, plastic's been around for like 100 years at least.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know how, like, where the, like, how you could draw any statistics from something that's been going on for that long. Like,
would you trade if you
people
knew,
are generally living longer than they did 100 years ago
because of the plastic?
Maybe it's like a scaffolding that keeps us like together.
Let's say, like if microplastics, like let's say they affected, like give you brain damage, right? Like lead, basically, like it messed with your brain. Do you think it'd be better to live shorter with more radiation and not have brain damage, or live longer and have brain damage? I feel like
I don't know.
The no brain damage and living shorter is probably the actual better outcome, right? Like if you have
but then you get cancer. You know, if that's how the radiation is gonna.
It's like the self-driving car.
That's pretty bad.
Old person or the little kid. You know?
Yeah, maybe I'd rather just be stupid and get hit by a bus or something, walking out in the middle of the road.
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be sick.
Instead of cancer,
that'd be a great YouTube video. I don't know. I kind of feel like there's a lot of, mystery things that are bad for us that we kind of just don't even think about right now. But instead we worry about, these dangerous things that have been built up more maybe by pop culture than science itself.
I think it just depends on what radiation, what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like I found those uranium rocks, and those were, my Geiger counter said 200 clicks per second, just hitting the image sensor on the scintillator, which is like a half-inch by a half-inch crystal. And that's just 200 like photons interacting with the sensor itself, which probably there's like some kind of statistic of how many are going through it. And then think about like how much is hitting your whole body. Like all the surface area of your whole body would be picking up like hundreds of thousands of.
You're like a fucking HEPA filter for radiation.
Just sucking it up. And that's low. I mean, 200 clicks per second.
It's a lot.
I mean, that's probably like 20 times background, or 10 times background.
So like where
in some places.
I mean,
what are microplastics?
My background here is 5 per second. So but it's still on the same order of like.
Yeah. It's like really nothing in the scale of radiation,
What is a
200,000 clicks per second?
Yeah, that starts to get scary.
Do you guys even know what a microplastic is?
It's plastic, but small.
I'm assuming there's a particle range. Like,
yeah, I thought just like from abrasion and all that other stuff, like just
like where does it come from? Where do they make? What factory makes microplastics? This is the same factory that made COVID? Probably. I'm just asking questions.
And leaded gasoline.
My name's Cucker Tarlson. Buy my nicotine stimulants.
1 nanometer, which is very small.
Nanometer to 5 millimeters. What? No, that's bullshit. Oh, AI overview. That's why. 5 millimeters is not micro. Does it actually say 5 millimeters? That's like a fucking marble, bro.
I would say, and I would define it as maybe anything less than 10 micrometers.
What can that penetrate? Like, where does that weasel its way into? Like, into your cells? Like, do we have microplastics in our cells? Is it in between cells?
Supposedly, they're in your brain.
In my brain. Like, is it just sitting there? Does it not do anything bad?
I mean, plastic's like pretty inert for the most part, right?
Where does it come from? Is it tires? Is it?
It's everything that's plastic.
Fleece,
water bottles.
Those microfiber. You should be using stainless steel.
Metal.
Is it like I've read that it's like washing clothes that are polyester. Like the fibers.
Yeah, like those
super
the fleece blankets.
Well, even like I think it's just from water bottles too.
Car tires.
Yeah, water bottles is like
plastic.
What, PFAS. I was reading about PFAS. PFAS is apparently turbo bad. I don't really understand what it is. It's some sort of like plasticizer or something. What does it do?
Oh, it's like a fluorinated.
I don't know. What
it makes plastic more plasticky. Dude,
it's like molecular microplastics, I think, is the deal with that.
So it's like pre-ground up.
Yeah. It's just like a long chain of
PFAS.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at like fire retardants, and there's like the bad one that apparently works really well, which is PFAS. It's like a foaming agent.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, that one's really bad. Don't use that one. They're trying to move away from PFAS. And then it's like PFAS in your water bottle, PFAS in the toilet. Like I'm not really sure what the hell PFAS is and how serious I should take it.
It's just polyfluorinated alkyl substances. So
that's
like
it?
Teflon.
Oh, I thought it was something way worse. Fucking have an idiot.
It's just a group of chemicals with fluorine instead of hydrogen.
You know,
the problem is that things don't digest
because all these chemicals do different things when they hold different hands.
Yeah, and it really is like the shape of the molecule versus what's in it.
Take this for what you will. I found a diagram.
The whole podcast or this next phrase?
Just no, this photo. It's hard to see. Oh yeah, you won't be able to read that. But one of them says that exposure to PFAS will reduce your response to vaccines.
So
does that mean if
a good thing or a bad thing?
If you want to fight the government vaccines, you must load up on PFAS.
I think that is a very, I don't know, that's a little scary. Oh God, baby bottles, single-use plastic products.
I see people on Reddit saying like, "Oh yeah, like we're a plastic-free household, you know, not with my baby, and it's hard to do this or that."
Yeah, they probably have some other shit in there that's like.
Somebody was saying like, "Oh, this is really cool, and I wish I could give it as a gift." My sister's baby, it's a 3D printed thing. I wish I could give this to my sister's baby, but they're against 3D printed plastics.
Oh my God!
Because of the
thing that gets
microplastic risk.
Really, I don't think that's.
I think it's one of those things where it's like people might do that, but then they step outside, they breathe in all the fresh diesel air and all of the burnt coal and tire dust and everything, and they're like,
"What do they soak telephone poles in?"
Creosote.
Creosote.
Yeah, which is like pure cancer. Like that stuff is like a class 1 carcinogen.
It's like there's stuff. I think that the only way you can truly live healthy is like away from society.
Dude, I don't think you can. There's
mentally and physically.
There's like a plastic in
That's
the
what
ocean.
I'm saying.
There's like that great
go really up north
garbage patch it's like not actually a giant pile apparently. It's just high density plastic. Like I think I read, and this could be total bullshit,
the Arctic is the only safe
tires
place.
Are like a huge chunk of microplastics.
Yep.
That you literally, we have as society built this machine that continuously grinds rubber into like microscopic particles and aerosolizes them. Like, do you know how big this machine is? It's like fucking 3,000 miles wide.
Yeah.
It's the world's biggest machine.
Everybody does it every day.
My country is a machine that turns rubber into microplastics. And it's crazy. Just like, okay, I went to the woods. Guess what's in the woods?
Yeah.
Tire dust.
Brake dust.
Not if you go far enough, though.
Yeah, a shit ton of pine cones.
I don't think there's any health effects of microplastics. Like I think there might be like tentative at best.
No.
Is this like carbon steel where it's like it's wedged in between my brain cells and it makes my brain harder and stronger and smarter? Or is it like, am I dumber now?
I don't know.
A bunch of little capacitors
I'm
in
too
my brain.
stupid to tell you, but that's from
the plastic.
That's from the radio waves. That's from the 5G.
Oh yeah, the 5G.
Yeah, we've had radio for 100 years, like 200, almost 200. Yeah. We would know if radio.
The only time 5G is dangerous is when you're standing next to like a 100 kilowatt antenna.
When you can feel the radio waves,
you'll know.
The only reason why people aren't living as long today is because they're getting too fat.
Okay, so you live every day breathing in microplastics from tires, drinking PFAS out of your water bottle, but it's the 5G that you're worried about. Why do people not just, why is it the 5G?
And the red dye number 40?
Yeah.
I can't believe they took that from me.
Did they? What was wrong with that one?
I don't know. JFK or RFK got rid of it.
Which one's JFK and which one's RFK? They both have holes in their thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is this too soon? For which one?
No, they're both fair game.
Fair game, okay. Like, why? I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is like of all my thought experiments is more like maybe there's something else we actually should be fucking worried about, but people are scared of other things. Like I'm not saying radiation's safe. I'm just saying like I feel like there's like our leaded gas, some sleeper agent thing that we live with every day that we're not worried about at all. But instead, we're like, kind of over afraid of a bunch of other stuff.
It's not even on anybody's radar.
Yes.
Maybe
it's radar. 100 kilowatt radar.
Maybe.
Turns out that was the real 5G all along. Are we gonna die of old age or are we gonna die of PFAS? That's what I want to know. I'm ready to die.
No, I want to see the aliens first.
All right, thank you guys for listening to this very special episode of the Safe Third Podcast. I hope you learned
the Earth is round.
The Earth is round. None of us know how to prove it to you, but if we thought
no, the Earth should be round.
Round when you look from the top.
I haven't. I couldn't tell you for sure, but the science says it's probably round.
I had to write software for a telescope, and I'm pretty sure the Earth is round because that's how my math worked, and I think that it worked. So I think I could prove that the Earth is round based on just star tracking, but also, actually, wait a second. No, I don't know how to prove the Earth
Will's
is round.
waking up right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It's not going great. All right, we'll see you guys on Patreon.